Hey everyone, welcome to a special bonus episode of Locked on Lakers. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers lose a controversial finish in Minnesota. Is LeBron's foot just that much too big? That's next.
You are Locked on Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked on Lakers your first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on weekends. Always free, never behind a paywall. Locked on Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out with over 22,000 subscribers, all of whom are watching this Zapruder-like film of LeBron James's toe on the three-point line as his foot, indeed, Andy, moves back and to the left to try to make that play a three-pointer. It was ruled a two, and Tony Brothers said there was not clear and conclusive evidence. Otherwise, the Lakers lose 108-106 in Minnesota in one of the crazier games I have seen in a long time, with one of the best performances, which I know we'll talk about. I've seen in a long time. Anthony Davis, 33, 17, 8, 4, and 2.
And what may have been the block of the 23-24 NBA season against McDaniels. Afterwards in the post-game, the Spectrum Sportsnet post-game show, James Worthy summarized it well by said, "What the hell was he thinking?"
Well, I'll be honest with you, Andy. I actually think I think of this. The second block came later. I always thought it was almost better. Like this was one of those nights. You know, the LeBron controversy, all that stuff notwithstanding, Anthony Davis on the floor with Rudy Gobert was absolutely 100% determined to show who the defensive player of the year was, because he lit up Gobert all night. We've said it a few times over the last couple of weeks, this was an MVP caliber performance that AD gave. He continues to play at an MVP level, and he was definitely sending a message in this one. On both ends of the court. Both blocks were spectacular.
Somewhere in what I imagine is a palatial estate, Draymond Green was watching Anthony Davis destroy Rudy Gobert and laughing his ass off. He probably sent AD like a really expensive bottle of some type and worth every penny to Draymond.
Or like a commercial-free subscription to his podcast.
Oh, let's not get crazy.
That's for the really elite gifts. This was, I mean, I guess there's so many things to talk about in this game. It's a shame the Lakers play again tomorrow, because I feel like we got 2 or 3 days worth of content out of this particular one. Let's start with the LeBron controversy. The three that would have tied the game for the Lakers with 2 seconds left was ruled a 2. I went through the whole range of emotions. When I saw it live, I was like, oh, he got it off. That's a 3. Because I'm kind of watching the ball. I'm watching the result. When I watched the replay, I'm like, oh, crap, his toe is on the line. When you see LeBron's replay or reaction to them initially calling it a 2, I'm like, oh, well, he knew his toe was on the line. Then I saw the replay again, and I don't know. I mean, it was so flippin' close.
This is why, I think it was a 3. Because if you look at where LeBron is rising up, he is going through the motion of rising up with his toes clearly behind the line when this begins. If at any point his toes shift, that has to be at a point where the ball is either out of his hands or so close that you are, in my opinion, getting too cute by half if you're the refs. And another reason I think this is, and obviously I cannot prove a negative as far as theoretical goes, and obviously, yes, I am biased to some degree. I'm a Laker fan who hosts a Laker podcast as a paid job. So yes, I have some biases. Fine, whatever. They're out there. Had that originally been called a 3, I seriously doubt they would have reversed that.
I don't think there's any question. I think there's no question, because Brothers said the interview with Tony Brothers, the ref pool interview that happens after every game, he said was there was not enough evidence to overrule it. Now, I think this is one of those deals like I think the bottom of his shoe is behind the line, but it pivots forward, and it's like, if it touches, it's by a hair. I 100% agree with you. If it had been called a 3 on the floor, it would have stayed a 3. And that's the clear and conclusive evidence thing. And, evidence that refereeing this game is damn near impossible. But if the rule is it's what the call is. And if you can't show clear evidence, you can't overturn it. But oh my God,
I mean, I've
seen a lot of things. I have not seen that.
LeBron was mad after this game.
Yes.
Like he said that the explanation he got, he said he did not talk to Tony Brothers. He said he talked to a different ref, did not name which ref. But he said that the explanation he got was that essentially it was decided over in Sea Caucus at the replay center, as he put it. Somebody over there eating a ham sandwich or something made the call. He was then going off saying, what the hell do we have replay for if they're still going to get it wrong? He was like, do we have robots in there making Teslas and making these calls? He did say, for what it's worth, in terms of LeBron taking accountability, the last play of the game where the Lakers had an opportunity at 1.4 seconds, they had an opportunity to get a basket. LeBron didn't get a shot off, and he said afterwards, that was on me.
It was his fault. He spun into a double team and couldn't get the shot off. He went the wrong way.
He just said, I got to be better than that at the end. He tried to duck under into traffic, misread the time. Like, he was just like, look, that is on me.
Yep.
But that 3 is on them. That's on them. I mean, it's
going to be replay over and over and over again. I think.
And look, regular listeners.
3. When I saw it like really close, I thought it was a 3. I don't think it was obviously a 3, but good God, like it's one. I wish
robbed the fan.
I wish it had been called a 3 on the floor.
Right. Here's the thing, too. First of all, regular listeners, the everydayers of this show, thank you. But also, you guys know we are not a show that complains about refs particularly often. That's not our thing. We generally concede to the idea that more happens over the course of a game that ultimately decides it, which, by the way, is the case in this game too. But beyond, again, my bias is acknowledged, you rob the fans of both teams more entertainment, because that game should have had the opportunity to keep going more. Should have been. We lose more than we win beyond in the final score from that. I think getting called way too cute by the refs.
I mean, look, the ref called what the ref thought. I mean, look, in real time, when I saw the replay in real time, I thought it was a 2. I thought it was
a 3 in real time.
I thought when I watched the first, like I said, when I watched it first go up, I thought it was a 3 because I saw him move his foot back. When I saw the replay and you can see him spin his foot to try to square up a little bit, then I was like, it looked like his foot was on the line. Then they show. So, I mean, I could understand why the ref called it a 2. Like, I totally understand that. It was really close, but you got to call one or the other. And, the flip side is in Minnesota, they're like, you can't just call it a 3 because you want it to be a 3 if it's a 2, because that's not fair to us. But, like, call aside.
Yeah.
There were a few things in this game beyond Anthony Davis's just incredibly dominant performance that I think are worth touching on here. The first is, of the 3 games where the new starting lineup has played, this was far and away the best that it has looked. The Lakers got off to a really hot start, keyed by their defense in the first quarter. They turned Minnesota over. They got points on the break. This was what it was supposed to look like.
Yep.
If you are somebody who, believes that this is thing going
if you're
forward.
Darvin Ham.
If you're Darvin. Right. If you are Darvin Ham.
I've been more open to it than you, but obviously this was the Darvin Ham vision. They were drawing fouls against Minnesota in part because of the disruptiveness and their ability to keep going at the rim. If I have a criticism of the Lakers in this game, at the top of the second half, like a minute or so into it, you've got Karl Anthony Towns with 4 fouls, Anthony Edwards with 3, McDaniels with 3. I don't think they attacked those guys as much as they could have or should have. But
right.
you had.
Well, they started hiding. This gets to some of the lineup issues, but like they started hiding at the top of the third quarter. They were hiding Anthony Edwards, right? On guys that make it hard to attack it.
Right. And you also had them turning over Minnesota a lot. Like what Darvin was looking for as a foundation to lay down the tone of a game and then build from there. We saw it in this one.
Absolutely. And in the second half, I was really interested to see what the contrast between the first half and the second half would be, because you go into the locker room. Okay, now we've seen it. We know what it looks like. And the Lakers, I think they might have had forced one turnover early in the third, got a bucket. They're going the other way, but they did it wasn't that sort of blitz of defense that threw Minnesota off completely and Lakers running and running and running. But they did keep Minnesota off the board. Like Minnesota had a lot of trouble generating shots. So did the Lakers. But the Lakers slowly ate into a little bit of a deficit, so that that lineup was a plus in the third quarter as well. So if you're Darvin, who obviously is going to keep going with this, I mean, Lakers fans can. I saw when Reddish was announced as healthy and back in the lineup, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I give up." Now, like, folks, he's going to keep doing this for at least 4 or 5, 6 more games. Like, they're going to keep trying.
Well, he's not going to be convinced not to do it based on the strength of beating the Hornets,
right? Or he's not going to quit because Twitter's mad at him. So,
if you're a coach, Twitter's always mad at you,
right? And particularly if you're Darvin Ham. So,
Darvin Hamon, they're always mad at him.
Darvin Scram, Darvin Sham,
Spam,
all of it.
Scam.
It was. I mean, it's still odd. Like, you have this lineup that basically, it's like in baseball now, where you have your opener. Like, you take the guy who's out of your bullpen and you throw him an inning and a third, and that's like the end of it. But this was the best game for it. And then there were some interesting choices in terms of. I think a lot of this was related to Minnesota's size, but Christian Wood playing not just minutes, but very important minutes
and played well
late in the game. I thought he played well too, and all that. So like it was interesting to see Wood. I think Andy, you tweeted it out. He clearly has taken Jackson Hayes' minutes away.
Yeah, it's also worth noting too. Like LeBron afterwards was asked about the starting lineup and just where the team stands, and he said like, "Look, we're still trying to figure stuff out," and you could tell from his tone that he finds it as frustrating that they're still trying to figure things out as everybody watching the show or listening to the show thinks it's frustrating that they're still figuring things out. He did also say, though, as far as the starting lineup, he doesn't really put much into it as far as importance. He cares much more about who closes. But that said, he also thinks, or at least said, the sample size for this new lineup is too small to make any real evaluation one way or the other. As far as the offensive limitations that come from this new starting lineup, they may exist, but the reality is everybody on this team, not named Anthony or LeBron, struggled all night.
That is exactly what I was going to say. It's like this was
the two of them were 22 of 38 from the field combined. The rest of the team went 15 of 60. Like, to put in perspective just how Strugglesville this thing was tonight for the Lakers, other than LeBron and AD, Jared Vanderbilt may have been their most prolific scorer, like in terms of efficiency. He was 3 of 7 from the field. Like, he was your clubhouse leader as far as guys who took more. As far as guys who took more than 5, as far as guys who took more than 5 shots, Jared Vanderbilt was your clubhouse leader.
He was the only guy who was at 50% or close to 50%. And Wood was 2 of 4.
He should have gotten to the line a few times and didn't.
Yeah, I mean, but Vanderbilt, the 7th shot, the one that he missed, layup down low, the great feed from LeBron. Like, just you talk about supporting cast members not making enough shots, That is a great example. Austin Reeves was 0 of 5 from 3-point range. Like, that is not good enough.
2 of 11 overall.
2 of 11 overall. Rui was 2 of 8 overall. Cam Reddish was 2 of 7. Taurean Prince, who did hit a couple big threes, was 3 of 9. And all over the freaking map in this game. Like, every time I was like, okay, he seems to be doing better. You do something terrible, then you're like, okay, he's got to get out. And then he makes a good play. He was, I don't know. But the point being.
And D'Angelo Russell, real quick. D'Lo, another guy who started from the field, he also left the game after taking a charge. He had a bruised tailbone and didn't finish out the game. Don't know yet if he's going to be available tonight versus the Pelicans. Also, for that matter, LeBron was not definitive because he had an illness and been listed as questionable. He said he stayed in bed basically until like the last bus took off for the arena in Minnesota.
He actually put his bed on the bus and took it with it.
He said, he feels like bleep. We'll see. I'm guessing he'll play, but you don't know for sure. I mean, it sounded like he really was bad today. I
agree. But I will say, like, they lost again. They're only a game over 500 now. And, if you look at just the straight wins and losses over the last couple of weeks, it obviously still looks bad. But you made the point, I think we talked about it after the first Minnesota game. If they play like that going forward, they're going to be okay. This was an example of that. I thought, like, this to me is another example of, like, okay, they're getting their stuff back together.
If nothing else, it's a sign they match up really well against Minnesota. If this was like a playoff matchup, they don't look terrible against this team.
No, I mean, they can go big. I mean, I think that's part of it, is they can really throw a lot of size.
It's one of the reasons Minnesota has matched up well against Denver is they can go big.
So, all right. Well, we'll see what happens tonight in New Orleans. The Lakers taking on the Pelicans in the last game of 2023 as they welcome in a home-heavy schedule to start 2024. It's a hard schedule, but it's home-heavy, and the Lakers badly need the opportunity to stay in Los Angeles for a little bit of time. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out with over 20,000 subscribers, all of whom, Andy, are interested in this message.
Well, the Locked On Lakers is brought to you by FanDuel, and you can celebrate this NFL season, which is just in a fantastic stretch heading towards the playoffs with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets back with any winning $5 moneyline bet. So just pick a team to win. Don't worry about the spread. You pick right, you get $150 in bonus bets, and you can use them on spreads, player props, over-unders, futures, all sorts of fun stuff. Really easy app to use, and obviously NBA options as well for the Lakers, them winning the whole thing, getting to the finals. Anthony Davis and LeBron in the MVP mix, Anthony Davis in the Defensive Player of the Year mix, Austin Reeves, Sixth Man of the Year mix. So again, hometown options for you. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Enjoy the NFL season. Enjoy sports with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. Locked On Lakers is brought to you by Prize Picks, the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stats projections and watch the winnings roll in up to 25 times your money. And basketball can be now combined with the NFL and the Specials League, created specifically for projections that include 2 or more players from different leagues or sports. For example, LeBron James and Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made too soon, and receptions. And with the PrizePicks reboot policy, your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For NFL games, NBA games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half, doesn't return in the second, that player gets rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with injury insurance. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA, all lower caps. Use that code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
All right, we'll see everybody tomorrow.